Hello, lovely people. Welcome to part 2 of my Ask Me Anything video. If you didn't see part 1, go back and watch that. You'll learn about what I did before True Food TV and all sorts of juicy things that isn't in this video. But we are picking up with a question that I left dangling last time, and that is, do I work outside of True Food TV? And yes, I have a media business with my husband. It is called Manic Media. Mark, Nicole, Manic. We do branded storytelling, commercial work. But honestly, guys, these days, most of our focus is on True Food TV. And I know what you're all thinking. I know you're thinking, if this is my main focus, why do I not pump out the videos like every day? Well, I hope you guys can see the difference in the quality of our content. And to be honest, it takes a long time for us to make, especially the showpiece How Does It Grow videos. And I want to take you through that. I want to tell you about how those get made so you have a full understanding of what goes into it. In fact, somebody asked me that, so I'll just jump right into what goes into making, let's say, a How Does It Grow video. So that one video takes like a good 8 weeks to produce. It is just me and Mark doing the work of what would be done by a team on a big commercial shoot. So that starts with research. There are weeks of pre-production. We are finding the right location. We are talking to the farmer. I spend hours on the phone with that farmer, asking them more than they've ever been asked before about the crop that we are doing our video on. After I get all the information from the farmer, I go and I expand the lens out and do my own research into the history, the industry. I've got resource books that I keep at home, and I go further afield. I put on my journalist cap and I interview experts, extension experts, agronomists, all kinds of people who can give me the context on that food. And then we take all of that information and we put it into a compelling story. We rewrite an entire script. I usually do the first draft. I send it over to Mark, who is my editor. We have our creative differences. We make it better. And then we don't just show up on the farm, see how it goes. We plot everything out, just like big commercial shoots, TV series do. We have every shot planned that we need in order to illustrate the story. Of course, we leave room for spontaneity, and we always build in conversations, and that isn't, tightly controlled. Sometimes it is a single day shoot. More often than not these days, it is a multi-day shoot. Mark is filming. He is the lights. He is the sound. He is the one-man band. Occasionally, we have worked with a second shooter on a big production like our Spanish olive oil video. We had a wonderful B-cam, we call it, and also he flew drone. That same guy, shout out to Victor, who is such a talent. He is a spectacular editor, and he has assisted me. I am usually the post-production editor on our episodes, and it takes weeks because we have hours upon hours of footage to go through, organize, put together. There are layers, right? There's music, there's sound effects, there's color, there's so much that goes into what could be a 12 to 20 minute How Does It Grow piece. Hopefully you have noticed in the most recent episodes, we have upped our game on the motion graphics. So like when you're seeing the history sections, maps, we've got a lot more moving parts. And that is largely thanks to the expertise of our friend Victor, who we've brought on for projects like that. The DNA of True Food TV is unlike most of the channels that are on YouTube. We take our time to get our facts straight. from the beginning and also at the end. Part of that post-production, part of that editing process is double checking that we have gotten things right. Okay, this is kind of like an origin story question. Why did you decide to be a YouTuber, and out of everything, why did you want to do this channel? I love this. I was freelancing for the New York Times, so I was working very regularly as a journalist for them, and also freelancing for other publications. And so in addition to doing news, I wrote, about everything under the sun. I had an opportunity to be a restaurant critic for a small regional magazine. I was always interested in food. I had a blog. This was kicking it way back. It was called New York Girl Eats World. And really, guys, the genesis of this channel came as like one of those like light bulb moments. I was in my kitchen in New York, putting lentils into a bowl. I was going to rinse them and cook them. And as I was pouring these lentils into the bowl, I thought, I can't picture what a lentil plant looks like. Like, I don't think I've ever seen one. And that bothered me at my core, because if I was a journalist writing about food, I realized I only know half the story. I only know about the cooking part. What about the whole story of how that food got into the kitchen in the first place? So I started looking around for these kinds of stories, and I realized that they weren't being told, at least not in a way like this, in a compelling deep dive. Started talking about it with Mark, and we already had Manic Media at that point. We were producing video stories. So we thought why don't we do this? We can do this. So that's how How Does It Grow was first born and then blossomed into the True Food TV channel. What are your goals for the channel? Honestly, I want to cover more international foods. I want to cover coffee and tea and chocolate and bananas and pineapples. I want to go to India and do all the spices. And really all it comes down to is finding the right partners to help facilitate those episodes. What was your favorite How Does It Grow shoot? That's like choosing between your babies. Okay, but if pinned down, I would boil it down to two. So one is the Amalfi Lemon episode and my poet farmer, Gigino. It was such an honor to record his story. I felt like we were preserving a piece of history, because it really is a dying profession. These farmers, Gigino, who's in his 80s, scaling these pergolas in a way that's like death-defying, but super traditional. He is growing that crop like his ancestors grew that crop. He also, opened his door to us in a way that was, we sat down and had a meal with his entire family. And it was just one of those magical moments. We were under the pergola of lemons, sharing this meal, sharing their love. It was so palpable. And in the same vein, our olive episode, we had the luxury of spending 10 days on the ground in Spain, going way deep. For us, it all comes down to the people. We got to know these really special farmers. Lola, who would, meet up with us at our shoot, carrying a sack of these lovely pastries that were, typical of that area. Just with so much love, coming to feed us. And then Paco, the other farmer that we profiled, one of the days that we filmed with him, he got his son together and some other wonderful people for a lunch that was just like a dream. He has this beautiful country house. We sat in this big sort of banquet table. They grilled lamb over the fire, open fire, and we had persimmons freshly picked from his garden as a simple dessert at the end. And then of course we also had our production hats on. And so during both of those shoots, while we're having these extraordinary lunches, especially Mark is like counting down the minutes on the light. He's watching the light fade away and we still have so much more to shoot. So there was also that like sort of tension of like, we have to get out there and get back to work, but we also want to sort of enjoy this experience. So yeah. Has there been any time when you were shooting that it was dangerous to be doing so? My pecan video, I was driving the tractor that was sweeping up all of the nuts, and I'm in the cab. I can't hear anything outside of the cab. I'm literally driving this thing by myself, and Mark is shooting me, and he's in front of the tractor. At first, he's several feet in front of the tractor, and he's getting closer and he's getting closer and he's not moving. He's getting the shot. He's getting this amazing shot of me coming towards him. I'm not sure if he is going to wait for me to stop or if he's going to jump out of the way. And we did both have this moment of, oh my God, what's going to happen? And clearly he didn't die. So he did move out of the way. But I think it took him till the last minute before he realized, I got to go. So yeah, I almost ran over my husband. Has your way of eating been shaped by responding to issues you've dealt with? I think this question was inspired by my recent video on my diet. You can go back and learn about what I eat, how I eat, and why. The way that I eat, fortunately, is not a response to any like health issues that I deal with. But certainly what has informed the way I eat is this very channel. Everything I have learned over the years about how our food is grown and how our food is made has influenced the way that I eat. What is your workout routine? My husband's probably gonna laugh. I don't have a routine. I'm just gonna be straight with you guys. I should work out more, and I know that. Busy mom, hectic schedule, all of that stuff should not be an excuse. I do these spurts where, I kind of like every couple of days do like an intense 20-minute routine of like burpees and, jumping jacks and squats and all sorts of stuff. And I do enjoy that. But I tend to get, I don't know if lazy is the right word, but I tend to prioritize other things over a workout, and I shouldn't. You shouldn't. So I have to do better. I will admit that. But what I will say is I walk every day. So my husband and I will go for at least a 1-mile walk somewhere in a park. We are lucky to have lots of nature preserves around us. It is not only good for your body, guys, it is good for your soul. It is good for your minds. Get out there, get some fresh air, get out of your cars, do some walking. Okay, a couple more questions that I really loved that are more sort of larger, sort of agricultural, philosophical questions. Let's hit them. Jim Christensen says, I heard a statement recently that a person would have to eat 8 oranges to get the same nutrition as eating 1 orange 50 or 100 years ago, as our soils have been overused and depleted. Not just oranges, but how about all vegetables or fruits we purchase at the store? All the farmers grow the same types of fruits and vegetables. The variety has dwindled as they have consolidated in favor of certain varieties that have nothing to do with nutrition and flavor and have everything to do with 1, shippability, and 2, reducing risk. Now, on that latter point, I totally get that. As you guys have seen in this show, the risk that farmers face is so great. There's so much out of their control. If it is a hugely rainy season, then, funguses can flourish. Things that the only way they can mitigate is with chemicals, because of the way that our agriculture has developed. So, how do I deal with that? I grow a garden full of heirloom varieties. I exclusively grow from seed so that I can get back into my diet a variety of vegetables that I can't get in my grocery store anymore. That's That's my solution. How somebody else would that can't grow their own garden, unfortunately, all that's left with them is to try to find a farmer's market or a CSA. Now, I say that knowing full well that there are certainly social and economic barriers to that solution. Not everybody can afford to shop at a farmer's market, to be sure. And that leads me to this last question, which will kind of talk about that topic some more. This person says, how can your gardening and dietary ideas and practices fit into inner city living and/or lower economic individuals and families? That is such a great question. And I have thought a lot about this. And part of the problem is a structural problem within our society, our priorities as a society, which starts from the top down, right? Government policies. Once upon a time, we were communities that got our food from farmers that we knew, that were local to us, that grew varieties that were perfect for our climate and soil in this specific region. If you go back to my How Does It Grow Rice video, the farmer there, Nazirak, talks about this very eloquently. And he talks about how he wants to be part of a shift back to regional agriculture. And regional agriculture will help us dramatically afford better food, because all of a sudden you're eliminating the costs of shipping food, right, across country to a region that needs it. If you're growing it locally, it usually becomes more affordable. Gardening in an inner city is absolutely challenging. We have to focus more on community gardens, right? We can create these local, hyper-local CSAs. We can create co-ops. When I lived in Philadelphia, I was part of a co-op that started that is really dedicated on good, healthy products for a neighborhood, right? We have to start thinking much more hyper-focused, but it really calls for a structural change. It calls for a legislative change. It has to start in our policies as well as in our grassroots efforts. Okay, I wanna end with one more question. How do you stay passionate in what you are doing? Lovely people, you help me stay passionate. Your questions, your comments, your shares, to watch these stories go out into the world and to open minds and to make us all more informed citizens, better consumers, to ignite that passion for food and farming, to see it firsthand, because this is an interactive community. That's what keeps me passionate. I am a naturally curious person. I love learning just as much as you. So my innate curiosity just keeps that passion burning. But it's mostly you guys, my lovely community. So thank you. Thank you for all of your questions. We'll do this again. Don't forget to subscribe, to like, to share, to hit that notification bell so you know when the next video drops. And find me on social media, True Food TV.